What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to tonight's edition of the P Coffee Brown Show. We got some troublemakers in the building. Landon Taylor and Jason Thibodeau. Jason, you look like, what's going on with you? Where you at? You in the wilderness or something? What's going on?
Well, I mean, you commonly introduce me as an actor, and I am currently sitting in my car on set while my daughter is inside filming. So it's a little dark. It's a little dark, but I'm trying to get whatever light I can because I refuse to miss the show. I've already missed one or two, and I was like, I'm not missing another one if I can. You know what I'm saying? So,
you out here on set.
so I'm sunroof, right? It's like I'm literally sitting in the car.
Rooftop. Oh, okay. I got
what I'm broke out.
Hold on, it was so bad. Hold on, it is so bad that I had to borrow my keys to even crank my car to make sure I can get on the call, just to get some light. Wow. So yeah.
I love it. And Landon has come out of his deacon attire. He is.
Yeah. I was gonna wear my Catholic. I was gonna wear a Catholic shirt, and I was like, "Nah, I ain't gonna do it, man," because Jason gonna be flexing. And sure enough, he done wore his Sigma stuff, man.
He done wore his frat stuff, and you got to.
Hey, gotta represent. B9, it's all love. It's all love.
Next week I wear it.
I did not know you were marked. I didn't know you were marked over there.
Oh yeah. Okay,
got your guns out and what? I see what you're doing, brother. I see.
Yeah, guns out. You know what I'm saying?
All right, the brother.
Hey, she did say troublemaker, so here we go. Yep,
that's how we do.
Period. Listen, y'all, it's so many things going on in the world right now. On the last show, Vincent and myself were flying solo. We got abandoned by the whole crew, y'all. I got to tell y'all, all of us got busy lives. When I tell y'all we busy, we are super busy. Mm-hmm. And we literally have to fit the segment in. But huge shout out to the crew because Jason was out on set. Landon was getting set up for an amazing journey that he's on as a father, which is, I mean, he'll share that with you guys on another segment and kind of get you guys acclimated to what's popping. Dupree had something going on Sunday as well. So we all out here just doing what we do, and that is changing lives and adding value in any way, shape, and form that we can. We literally, we in the hunt and on the grind for real, to really manifest in this year, 2025. And it's been an interesting year already, highs, lows, ups and downs and in-betweens, but we're going to make it happen. We're going to do what we got to do, period. So listen, y'all, I've been keeping up with these tariffs. The last show, Vincent and we talked a little bit about the tariff thing that's going on. Anybody heard anything different? I heard that he was getting ready to try to lift them for a while, to kind of take some pressure off the economy. What have you guys been hearing? There's so much different news out there about these tariffs.
Yeah, what pressure off the economy?
Yeah, because I mean it's getting bad. I mean, I've seen so many different things. I don't know what's true anymore. I've seen certain countries or European Union, they're backing off. Other different countries are backing off, but I really don't know if that's true or not.
I know, because it's no way to gauge what's real and what's fake anymore.
Right.
There's so many different outlets that are giving us information from here, there, and everywhere that it's just kind of hard to gauge, which outlet is giving accurate information. And then they turned around and said on yesterday in our trading group that the news was fake. Mm. And the markets were crazy volatile yesterday. I don't know if either of y'all pulled the trigger on trading yesterday, but the market was volatile. I literally sat on my hands yesterday. I was like, I ain't touching it, period. It was going crazy today.
Yeah, I was in the demo account all day yesterday.
Yeah, it was going crazy yesterday. I was like, I ain't trading. I'm not touching nothing, man. It was just like no structure, no nothing. It's just swoop, 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 swoop. I was like, really? But every time Trump says something,
because I saw a report that the market was back up today. Yep.
Yeah.
I heard a report that the market was back up today, but I mean, I don't think it's going to stay there. I mean, this is the market. So basically, like you was just about to say, anytime he says something, it's going to go up and down, and it's going to be something volatile.
It's crazy.
Because he's saying stuff for shock value, and it's definitely shocking the market.
And it's making people, and the crazy part about it is I was talking to a guy who is a stock trader, And he was telling me the other day, he was like, honestly, people just need to leave their money sitting right where it is. Because when that thing recovers,
I agree.
and so many people gonna end up, in a deficit because they're pulling out. Where you going to? Where you gonna put it? Like, you pulling it out, you putting it where? Because you can't put it in a bank account for what?
Right.
Bank accounts, they run the market anyway.
Exactly.
They trade your money all day long. As soon as you put it in there, it's being traded. So, and a lot of people don't even realize this, but when they look at the numbers with the FDIC, it only covers $250,000. It don't matter how much money you put in the bank. That's it.
Correct.
Right.
They do not insure
It could even cover that.
Yeah. Look, if they have enough to cover that, because in the stipulations.
That's what I'm saying, because they're printing paper. We're not on the gold standard. So I mean, how are they gonna give you your money back if there's nothing tangible to give you?
Period. And in the stipulations, people, I still haven't seen the full fine print of that because it's so small. You need a magnifying glass to read the fine print on the FDIC paperwork. Like, I'm like, are y'all kidding right now? Y'all, so I'm sure within that information, it says if we don't have it, we don't have it. Somehow, some way is written inside of there. I know they got it written in there somewhere. They got to, for sure.
Oh yeah, there's some caveat somewhere. I mean, there's somewhere in that policy that if there's some small little caveat, it releases them from coverage.
Well, absolutely.
I mean, I work in insurance. I mean, so there's always something to where if you don't do or say or sign or whatever, a particular form or whatever, you're probably not going to get that coverage. So, and then what are they going to cover it with? Another piece of paper?
That's all it is.
Something to think about. We don't have money. We have currency.
Correct.
Yeah, it has to stay moving. We don't have money. We have currency. And what does current do? A current runs.
A current moves. It
flows. So,
facts all day.
Well, preaching tonight.
Yeah, don't have me start getting engineering over here.
Ain't he preaching?
From the car, baby. From the car. Nah.
Come on, Rap.
Cutting up in the car. Yeah, man.
Car. On another note,
right.
A friend of mine earned $160,000 in the last 7 weeks in Bitcoin.
That's nice.
And I was like, boy, you got to be playing. So he sent me the information. I already knew about it anyway, but he sent it to me anyway. He was like, man, he said, everybody, if people only realize that they're, like you just said, the currency is flowing. It might not be flowing to their address, but that currency is going to somebody. Ain't nobody broke like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? The people that are making these deals and cutting all this stuff and doing all these things, they're not without access to currency or the transport system to get it where they want it to go for it to keep growing. Period.
I agree. One of the best ways to judge.
It's a mental game. It's not, none of it is real. It's all a mental game.
Right. Absolutely. I was going to say one of the best way to judge if the economy is really tanking is if they ever stop building houses. Well, everywhere I look, they're still building houses. So somebody's buying them.
Yeah. True.
So the money is still being made because people are still buying houses. I mean, there's houses on the market and there's still people moving. So, they're still buying houses. They're still building roads. They're still building neighborhoods. That should tell you something.
Even bigger than that, they're building more commercial now than ever. Like, they're going crazy on the commercial sector. Like, the commercial sector, they are...
Especially distribution centers.
Yeah, man, they're killing all the darn trees. On the residential side, speaking of that, everybody, we always start with the current events, so we talk about that before we hop into the show topics. In the news, though, on a serious note, there is still challenges in the housing market with people having this fear of what's going on, and people are being stuck in neighborhoods that they don't want to be in anymore and not able to sell their property. So the housing market is experiencing some challenges. It's not dead, but it is experiencing some challenges to the point where it's neutral. It's not a buyer or a seller's market on either side.
Correct. It's in transition. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's very neutral right now. So we'll see what happens in about the next 6 to 8 months. A lot of times, summertime is a good indicator of what's going to happen with the market when the summer starts to come in. And then, and then what? Who turned the air conditioner on in Houston? Who turned the air on?
Thank you.
It's freezing.
Same thing in Dallas. I found out. Yeah,
it's freezing. Listen,
we had
y'all.
3 days of wind blowing at close to tropical storm speeds, where it was still warm, but the wind was blowing for about 3 days. And all of a sudden, you wake up and it's 42 degrees the next morning.
Period. But
in April.
I got a treat. I got a treat for you.
In April.
Right.
We got a guest in the studio, y'all. We got a guest in the studio. I got a treat for y'all.
Okay.
All right.
So it's been a minute since she's been on the show. But y'all remember my
Hey.
What's going on?
What is going on?
Sister Lady Rob.
Nothing. I'm trying to,
Greeting.
get in where I fit in. God bless y'all. Greetings to both of you.
She said she didn't want to be outnumbered, Jason.
Listen,
You know.
Hey, that's fine. Yeah.
I cannot be outgunned and outnumbered. Not today. Not
today.
Hey,
Not
I'm on
today.
my best behavior. I'm in the car. I got to be good.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm doing good today too. I told her already. I said, listen, I'm on one. So I'm gonna be a little bit more quiet than I normally am. But I heard y'all talking about Dallas, and I'm sick of this cold weather that's going on around here.
Thank you.
Like, what is going on? Literally sunshine and then a storm. I'm like, okay, God, what is going on? So anyway,
So
I'm with y'all.
I told this older lady
again at the beginning of April.
Right.
Right. I told this older
it
lady.
Must be April Fools.
It must be April Fool. For real. I told this
but it did the same thing in March, and normally it's 100 degrees by now.
Right.
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 Well, it's gonna be like 87 next week.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Everybody gonna be sick.
Yep.
But you know what? It's not just us, because I was in a class yesterday, and in Atlanta, it dropped down the same way.
Oh yeah.
It was warm over the weekend, and then they got the same weird cold front. And I said, man, somebody that made Jesus very upset.
Right.
I need to find out who it is so I can go to their house and say, hey,
so we can tell.
Exactly.
So we can
literally, we need to go over there and literally tell them, hey, I need you, whatever you need to do. Do I need to bring people over here? Do you need to confess? Because you causing problems out here in these streets.
Help us.
So listen, y'all. Listen, my sister Lady Rob is in the building. She is our special guest on the segment. And I'm going to tell y'all the reason why we had to have another lady on the segment is because we are going to talk more about this good man, good woman syndrome. People have a tendency to use that terminology, or the other term is real man, real woman. What is that supposed to mean? A real man, a real woman? Last time I checked, if you look at anatomy physiology and you do go to the doctor, they will say you're either a male or a female. They won't say real or fake. They'll say man or woman. Right. They don't say real or fake. And the term, the good man, good woman, what does that really translate into? Oh, girl, he a good man. What does that mean? Come to find out, a lot of people have use the good man, good woman terminology to define capabilities, not characteristics. So if you're capable of doing this, you're a good man. If you're capable of doing this, you're a good woman. But it has nothing to do with character. Y'all help me out.
Oh, that's good. I
can play the character of a good man.
I am a good woman.
By your definition. Yeah, by your definition.
But it's not based on competencies or capabilities. That's the thing. So you hear people saying, oh, he a good man. And, you'll ask them, well, what does that mean?
Right.
Tell me about that. And they say, well, girl, he take care of all the bills and he does this. And, he a pipeline fool and yada, 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 yada. And I say, well, is he spiritual? Does he have a relationship with the Creator? Can you depend on him for the spiritual aspect of your relationship? Is he emotionally connected? What is his character like?
Right.
Girl, you know, he do stuff, girl, but you know, he a good dude. Huh?
I don't think that talking from women's standpoint, right? I was married for 30 years, so I'm just now in this single game, which I don't like, right? Because I believe in marriage in its totality, but I believe that they don't care about character. Like eh, my husband couldn't come to me without integrity. That was what I was looking for. I was looking for who is he without me? Who can he stand up in? Like if I was to say, oh man, that's a great dad, what characteristics would I give that father? Oh, he shows up when they're sick. He makes sure that he's there when they go to bed at night. To me, the character aspect of it is not all of what he can provide, because I can provide as well, right? So when I think about character, I don't think about provision. I believe that those are two different things. Yes, can you be of good character and be a provider? Absolutely. I expect that. But what is your character outside of your money? What is your character outside of your title? What is your title? What is your character in that title? And I think that's more of the question, like what would a man describe his character as? And since we have two men on here, I guess they'll answer that question for
I
me.
guess so.
I don't need to answer anything. I just need for you to repeat what you just most days are looking at
Okay, so wherever he is, starting to
It's
have,
breaking up.
yeah, he breaking up. So while Jason gets his stuff back together and we can get him back on
Yeah,
properly. Landon,
Yeah, he's frozen. No, that was
Landon,
you
perfect.
are. You are.
No, that was perfect. I think over the years, especially with social media, just the overall concept of the relationship between men and women has just totally been disformed, right?
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
mean, even the reality of a lot of women and men saying that they want women who used to be this or used to be that. I mean, different things came with that, right? When women saying that,
Mm,
that they wish that men would be the way they used to be. Well,
mm,
Mhm.
going back to your example, a lot of men were providers, but they were not active as fathers,
Yeah,
right?
mm,
A lot
yeah.
of the teaching, majority of the teaching came from the mother, right?
right.
And it
Correct.
was just a man coming in and putting the money on the table, walking away. Woman pays all the bills. I think my dad told me like my great grandfather didn't know really how to pay the bills. He just gave it to my great grandmother. Number one, he
Mhm.
couldn't read, right? So
Mhm.
a lot of things have shifted, right? So, when it comes to a good man, I think that also has to evolve with the time, right? So now you're starting to see more of the new dads be more involved, right? But
Mhm.
then we're stuck into a certain mindset of what a man or woman should look like, right?
Mhm.
Should a woman be cooking and cleaning all the time? Well, if we want that, then that means that uh, the woman back then did not work,
Right.
right? So you can't expect a woman to cook, clean, and work at the same time, right? So it's give and take, right? When we talk about good man, good woman, right? We
Mhm.
also have to evolve our thinking. So I just think that it's just been distorted.
I think so too, and I think it's been even then during that time when those things were happening, there was a lot of people involved in the success of those relationships. Your
Mm-hmm.
mama, your grandmama, big mama, your big aunts and all. It was a community to make sure that those core partnerships stayed intact at whatever cost. Now it's every man for himself, every household
Mm-hmm.
for themselves. If y'all drowning, we don't care that y'all drowning. Okay, drown. Now we see you drowning. We know you're drowning. We know you don't have what you need over there at your address, but that's not my problem. Well, before it used to be everybody's problem. If it was one person's problem, it was that whole community's problem. It wasn't just one person who had the problem. It was everybody's problem. So I think now when you talk about when you really start digging into that terminology, good man, good woman, what does that mean as a community? Where is our village to keep these households ran, to keep the families together, to make sure the children are safe and sound? You know, interestingly enough, Jason and I were having a conversation earlier today about discipline, right? And I was telling him it's this guy that did this podcast, and he was talking about corporal punishment, basically saying that he, you know, physically asserts energy to deal with his children. So he was like, AKA spanking. Okay. So he said it on a podcast, and it was thousands of people on that podcast, right? And so y'all already know the comments were crazy. And I was telling Jason, nowadays, you can't even say that. You can't even open your mouth and say, oh, this is how I discipline my children. Because next thing you know, you get that somebody knocking on your door and saying, oh, you can't discipline your children like that. You know, but Jason made a good comment. He said, oh, so when they tear up everything, or when they're destructive, or when they out here harming and hurting people, y'all gonna be good with that part? Somebody gonna discipline them then, and it's gonna be the type of discipline that you don't want them to have to deal with. So what are we really gonna do here? You know, so and I was telling Jason, I said, when you really think about the bigger picture, it wasn't so much as me popping my child as it was me giving that child directives to redirect behavior that wasn't conducive to the health of that child or the health of the environment that child was in. So if I got a child and they I mean, like I seen a little kid the other day, he was going in, he was yelling and screaming and hollering at his parents. And the mother was like, just stop it. Just stop it. And the little boy was like, why? He said literally, why? And the fact that he even felt okay with just talking to his mom sideways let me know that at the time when he was younger and this behavior started, nobody redirected him. Now, every single child is wired differently. And some children, you can literally give them that ugly look and they freak out, they start crying, they straighten up right away. Other children have a different energy level, and they're a lot more tolerant, and they have a different type of mindset. They're wired differently. And some of them, you got to get in their face. You don't have a choice.
Right.
You don't get in their face, they're going to get in your face.
My son is 6'7", and I'm going to get in his face. I mean, there's no way.
Giant.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, he's a giant, and he's only 20. He just turned 20. So yeah, he's a giant. And I mean, what I am happy about though is what he saw, like the example that was given. And I think that's where we're going tonight is it's important, your character as a good man or a good woman, because your children are going to follow those things. Absolutely. They see what you say. They don't listen to what you said. They see what you're actually saying. And sometimes we don't give them the truth, right? Our culture, we just like, whatever I tell you, that's the way it's gonna go. And that's fine. I mean, I grew up like that. But as I got older, I realized, no, you need a definition to make you understand why this is not okay, or why that situation is not okay, and not to put yourself in some situations. So I don't know. I just, I'm listening to men now, because I need to make sure it's going to take a village to raise this boy. So, Can a Woman Raise a Man was a play that we did. And I was the executive producer on the play. And then I starred in the play alongside Marva King of Diary of a Mad Black Woman. Right. So she did our play. She was the keynote in our play. And the essence, every time we asked the question at the end of the play, they would say, yeah, a woman can raise a man. No, actually. So I want to answer that question, because some people will see this later. A woman can raise a male, but a woman cannot teach a man how to be a man. It's impossible. It is impossible. So if you want to know how to be a man, you have to have an example of what that man looks like. Even in ministry, I can name men that I like in the Bible: Peter, Paul, Matthew, Luke, John. But I can't teach no woman how to be Peter, Paul, Mark, Matthew, Luke, or John, right? All I
Right.
can teach them how to do is look like Naomi, because I know how to be Naomi.
Right.
I understand how to be Ruth. I
Right.
understand. And so I think we need more men to show character, not say character, but show it. What does character look like to another young male who will see this podcast? What does that look like?
Right. Exactly. And
Now,
then,
Wilson,
go ahead, Landon, go ahead.
no, I was going to say, Lady Rob, I love that. Number one is statistic based, right? So if you look at the just in our community, I'm not talking about nobody else. I'm just talking about in our community. If you look at the areas that have the highest crime rates, it's the areas where men are not present.
Absolutely.
And women have that deformed view of I don't need a man.
Right.
Crazy.
So you know, I applaud you. I will also say that I applaud your support of men, because what we're also seeing is a deformed view that it's almost just terrible to be a man, which is why you have a lot of our men not wanting to be men anymore. And I'll just leave that right there.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, and it's the whole ecosystem has been thrown off. It's kind of like this weather. The ecosystem is it's completely off. When you think about when you talk about, and I'm glad you brought that up, Lady Rob. When you think about the reflection of a good man and a good woman, it has to be seen in that same gender assignment, so that child can pick it up from what they actually are familiar with. It's a perfect example. When my son was growing up and he was a little boy. Well, he came in the bathroom with me one day and he said, "Mommy, why are you sitting down? Why are you sitting down, Mommy?" And so he thinking in his head, like, "Why are you sitting down?" Well, the only reason why he asking me why I'm sitting down, because his daddy was standing up. Now, he wouldn't have known that had he not had a man around to see him standing up. You see what I'm saying? Right. So it starts even back then. When it comes to even teaching them, it's very hard for a woman to teach a little boy how to potty train a little boy. It's a nuisance because you don't have the same equipment to show him. Right. Versus when I have my daughters, if I go in the restroom and I'm sitting down, sit down, Yasmin, sit down. Okay, Mommy. She's gonna sit down and follow the same thing that I'm doing. She's gonna follow the same exact thing that I'm doing. But Miles couldn't follow what I was doing because what I was doing didn't make sense to him. So he was like, "Mommy, you sitting down." He just literally could not process it. So, when you think about all the pictures that come into play, when you talk about good man, good woman, and the image that comes to mind, when you think about how our children process what we see and who we are, when they start looking at us for information, like, when Miles' dad passed and my sister, her husband, passed too. But when Miles' dad passed, he was 13. He was 12. He had just turned, he was 12, getting ready to turn 13. Do you know how dangerous of a time that was for a kid to lose their father? It was like one of the most dangerous times for a kid. They say that if a child is either at that age or in their early 20s, it has a horrible adverse effect on a boy or a girl when they lose a parent when at that teen age or when they're at that super young adult age. It does something to them, significantly does something to them. But fortunately for me, in my mind, I said, "Oh, I got to get him around some men." Now, my brain wasn't thinking good men. My brain was thinking male, masculine.
Yes.
It wasn't a total process of, okay, I got to make sure that the guy never been in trouble. I got to make sure he did.
Right.
My brain wasn't thinking that. My brain was thinking in order for this boy to be able to pick up where he was dropped off unintentionally, for him to become who he needs to become, he's got to be surrounded by men. And he got to be surrounded by them, not now, but right now.
Right now.
Like literally, when we got here to Texas, guess what I did? The first day, I took him to the barbershop. I told the guys, I said, hey, his dad just passed away not even 6 months ago. And before we moved, I have 5 brothers, so he was still around my brothers and all that stuff. So he still was around a community of guys. But when I got here, my first assignment, the day when we touched down, I went to the barbershop the first day. Period. To find some men. For real. I say, hey, listen, his dad passed away a few months ago. If this was December of 2011, he had passed in July 2011. I literally said, hey, I need help. I can't do this by myself. I'm not even going to sit here and tell you that I even know what I'm doing with a boy. I'm not even going to try it. I need y'all to help me. They said, all right, leave him here. First thing that they did, hey, pick a broom up, man. Pick up a broom and start and sweep up around here, man. When we get done with this hair, just sweep up. To this day, my son still goes to the same barber to get his hair cut, and he's now 26. Wow. Talk about impact.
Yes, that's one of the best.
Yeah, and the guy that cut his hair, let me tell you what's so crazy about this. You thinking in your brain when people say, oh, good man, good woman, you got to watch how you thinking when it comes to that. Because the guy that cuts his hair to this day is a convicted felon. Mm-hmm. If I had gone by in my head, good man, good woman, my brain would have been like, oh, I don't want him around no felon. Oh,
right. Exactly.
That didn't make the guy a bad guy. That made him make a bad choice.
Mm-hmm.
A bad decision. Mm-hmm. And he came out of prison and made a different decision and opened up his own business and been there ever since. Mm-hmm. And never had another run-in with the law. But if I had been judging by information and not identification, then I would have been in my mind that this guy is a bad guy and would not even taken time to understand who he is identity-wise, not by information.
Exactly.
So when you start thinking about good man, good woman, it's levels to this. And you can't just go by what a person has been or what a person has done or where they have been or what they used to be identified by or who used to, because if you do that, we'll find ourselves literally getting rid of the people that we need in our lives for not only our present, but for our future.
Yes, closed-minded.
Yeah.
I think it makes us closed-minded because I did literally the same thing. You didn't know that. We was in Vegas when he died. And the first thing I did after I realized that this was I took him to a barbershop. One, because I wanted him to breathe. And my grandson, I wanted them to breathe because we raised our oldest grandson as well. And so and he was there when my husband passed away. So it was really huge, right? But I knew enough to know that I needed male village. Mm-hmm. I just knew that there was no way that I want him to be the same type of husband that my husband was. I want him to be the same type of father, even better, actually, than my husband was. And to do that, I need to get him around men. I need to get him around men that may show him some things that he don't agree with. That's what I think I heard you say. It's like like we are our culture is so judgmental when it comes to men. And I know some of y'all will see this later. Y'all be thinking I'll be a woman bashing. I don't. I just feel like a woman should understand her role and her opportunity to advance her man. Right. Yeah. And so part of doing that is understanding who he is. And you said it best, like a good man first has to identify who he is. Mm-hmm. And once he identifies it, then he can give me the blueprint, write the vision, make it plain, put it on tablets so that people will run with. I can run with you when I know who you are. When you can identify to me who you are, I can go with you in that journey. I just feel like that.
And interestingly enough, Jason used to get on me all the time when Miles was brought up about certain things. Jason would be like, Koffe, do you think that's a good idea for you to have Miles do this or that? And I used to be thinking to myself, how you telling me what? And then he told me one day, because me and Jason been friends for like 16 years. Jason said to me one day, he said, listen, I am not telling you nothing that's going to hurt your son. I'm telling you this because I'm a man. And
Right.
I'm not being funny, but you ain't no man, Coffee. So you can't tell me what I already know about manhood. You
Right.
can't tell me what I know about manhood. So, it's either you gonna fight with me right now or you gonna cause your son to challenge it tomorrow.
Hmm.
And I used to be like, I said, does this dude think? But had I not listened to him,
Exactly.
it's no telling what would have happened with my son. Because some of the things that Jason saw and the certain things that he saw Miles doing, he knew it would have caused him problems in the future. And he was like,
Absolutely.
I'm telling you this as a man. I'm not telling you this as your friend. I'm telling you this because I know. And look at what the country that we live in. He said
Yeah.
to me one day, he said, your son is brown. You forgot your son was brown?
Mm-hmm.
And like literally, and I was like crying to Karen. He's like, what you crying about? you forgot your son was brown? You forgot? You forgot you live in America? You forgot what's going on in this country? Well, let me refresh your memory.
Yeah.
Right.
And like having those conversations, and those are hard pills to swallow. And for any woman out there who is in a position and you're raising a son, you need to find a man.
Find them.
The boys club, something
Boys and
inside
girls
of
club. Yeah.
a church community or some kind of
Yes.
local club or something where boys are and men are monitoring
Mhm.
and mentoring and coaching them. You need to get, even if it's a controlled sport, get him in an
Right.
AAU or something. He
Hmm.
needs to be around some men, and he needs to be around men quickly, because there's certain identifiable things or certain things that a man can see in a boy that a woman wouldn't even know was there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We
True.
have no way of knowing because we're not a man.
That was the first conversation I had with my wife and just the women in the family. Right? It was, yes, you can love him, you can do all these great things, but at the end of the day, my number one ask is that you not get in the way of me teaching him how to be a man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Amen.
Like
Yeah.
that's like you can teach him ABCs, all of this, but when it comes to him being a man, that is my job. That is my calling.
Right. Right.
Just
Amen.
like with my daughter, I can't teach my daughter how to be a mother or how to be
Correct.
Right.
a wife,
Right.
right? I mean, it's duality, right? So it's
Correct.
that on both sides. But
Right.
yeah, that was the first conversation. Just because, for women, and no fault of y'all's own, they're just different experience. We both go through different experiences, right? And I
Right.
think that's the conversation we're
Mhm.
having today, right?
Right.
So, I know a lot of people in this day and age are like, well, we shouldn't treat boys and girls the same. Well, the society treats them differently.
Correct.
They're just things that, you and Lady Rob, Coffee, you and Lady Rob can get away with that Jason and I cannot get away with.
No, definitely
Primarily
not.
if we're being pulled over.
Right.
Right.
Oh, absolutely. Come on now. Listen,
You know
I
what I'm
got some
saying?
Right.
So
things. I got some situations I can offer
Yeah.
the officer that y'all
yeah,
ain't got. Praise God.
yeah. So exactly, right. So that again, that was a number one conversation.
Uh-huh.
We have to raise our men.
Exactly. And two,
Question. Can you hear me
when
now, Coffee?
yeah, we hear you now. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, for one, I wanted to edify both you. Sorry for earlier. I guess I got a bad signal all of a sudden. I wanted to edify both you and Miss Lady Rob, and the reason being is because I heard something on this call that I don't hear out in the real world a lot of times, especially from a lot of our women, and that was accountability.
Mhm.
And I don't think y'all understand how far that goes when a man hears a young lady be accountable for what she sees, what she's done, and it just goes on with it. Now, I love what both of y'all have said, and I appreciate the edification as well, Coffee, when it came to your son. But one of the things when I see single mothers, and Landon, you'll probably feel me on this, one of the
Mhm.
things that I ask single mothers when they're raising a young man is, would you date your son? And I don't mean literally. Would you date the type of man that you're raising your son to be?
Wow. That's
And
deep.
if your answer to that is no, my next comment is do better.
Mm,
Because if you're
mm,
not raising your son to be the type of dude that you would think that you want to date, then you're failing
yeah,
him.
Mm-hmm. Miserably.
true. That's
You're
Miserably.
true.
failing him. If you're
Mm-hmm.
keeping men out of his life because you don't like the fact that they're holding you or him accountable for things and it makes you
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
uncomfortable, then
Mm-hmm.
you
Mhm.
need to do some self-checking. You know what I mean?
So.
because really and truly, it's like because here's the deal. You see this right here? That's my daughter. She was filming earlier. Now she's in the car. She's done.
Behave.
Like Landon said, I can't teach her how to be a lady or a
Mhm.
woman,
Right.
right? I can teach her, well, I can teach her how to be a female. I can teach her how to be respectable and everything else. But her
Mm-hmm.
mom and her aunts and her sister and friends like Coffee and everything else, they're the ones that's going to help mold her into that woman that she needs to be. And I
Mm-hmm.
agree with you also, Lady Rob, because you said that basically you need to bring your son around guys that he will agree with and guys that your son won't agree with. So that way
Right.
that helps mold them. So one of the things I've done is, even though I have a wife in the house, with both of my daughters, I still had them in a organization, a youth organization that was all women. And I
Mm-hmm.
told them, I was like, you have your grandmother who was very prosperous, you have your mom who's been prosperous, and you have these ladies who have been prosperous in their own way. And the reason why I'm putting you in these programs, because I want you to see what you do and you do not like, and what hear and you don't like hearing from different people.
Mm-hmm.
But I
Mm-hmm.
want it in a controlled environment, if that makes sense to you.
Mm-hmm.
I want that environment controlled so that way we can have further conversation, and then you
Mm-hmm.
can hear a lady's point of view and you can hear a man's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can put together your own decisions,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if that
Mm-hmm.
makes any sense to you.
No,
That
that
teaches
makes
me everything.
a lot of sense. And you know what? And two, the biggest thing is how far do you want your children to go? I remember my mom used to say all the time, I want y'all to be way better than I am. I want y'all to be I want y'all to know more than me. I want you all to be much more. I want you, anything that is me, I want you to be greater than that. Anything that is me, I want you to be greater than that. But to say it and not position a child is a problem. Because I can say it all day, but if I don't do anything to position that child as far as putting them in the right environments, putting them around the right people, putting them around the right information, and those kinds of things, it's going to be a problem because what I said holds no weight and it has absolutely no value. I like how you said outside of the parameters of all the women that she's familiar with, you wanted her to be in an environment where there was no familiarity, but there was an environment that you could dictate without the familiarity so she could see the reality of what other women are doing. A project that I'm going to be spearheading later this week is about a girl. I'm a girl, but I never learned how to be a woman because I did not have my mama.
Mm.
So I'm a girl, but I have no clue how to be a woman because I didn't have no mama. Do you know how many women we talk about, boys not having their fathers, but we rarely say anything about a woman not having her mother. That's a rare thing that we have conversations about. And it's a whole lot of women. The reason why their behavior is destructive when it comes to their son is because they didn't have the right example of a mother to show them that, hey, I'm not this boy. I don't tell this boy what to do. His daddy, because all the time my mom used to say, "Go find your daddy. Go find your daddy. Go ask your daddy. Go talk to your daddy." She didn't take on that weight of responsibility. But there's a lot of women that are missing moms. So they were girls, but they didn't get a chance to even understand what motherhood, womanhood, femininity, none of that stuff meant because they did not have a woman in place that was healthy to help them to be able to become a woman, a whole healthy woman. That's conversations that we don't have a whole lot of conversations about. And it's a whole lot of women that are bleeding out. And we wonder why we got the results that we have right now culturally and in our society. Well, some of these women are literally have absent mamas.
And
Not
then
just
they have babies.
yeah.
And then they have me being, I mean, Coffee no, but I am a biological mother, a foster mother turned adoptive mother. Okay, so I can look at the situation that she's talking about and really understand what it means. When I got my middle child, she was 9 years old. She was in Jacksonville, Florida, and had never had a birthday party. Imagine that. I'm 9 years old, and I don't know what, had never been to Chuck E. Cheese, had never, at 9. right? Could you imagine like being in a space? So their mother has since, the biological, has since passed away. She died like 6 months after my husband, right? So now she's like, Mom, wherever you going, I'm coming with you. You the only parent I got. But watch this. Her guilt made her leave home early, right? And then when she left home early, she realized that the mother didn't know how to be a mother. It wasn't just that she was removed, it's that when she went back, she didn't know anything either. So she didn't know nothing before she left. And when you return, how do I deal with you? Because you the only girl. How do I don't know how to deal with you, because all I know how to do in this honest conversation, right, is to be on my back. So when you say a good man or a good woman or a bad woman or a bad man, none of that matters. What matters is your integrity. I think that's what the essence of this show is about. Like, what is your integrity at the end of the day? Can somebody look at Koffe, like Jason said, and want her to be around his daughter and she's not the mother? Can somebody look at London, I think that's your name, right, and say, hey, London, I want you to come over here and help me with my son. I can't do it by myself, right? So those are the type of people that I'm looking for, not people with all the right answers, but people who understand that answers need to be made, answers need to be had. And Koffe, that's great, man. Go do it. Like, you already know, I advocate for children, so you know, I'm. If you can get to the mother, though, this is why I'm saying go do it. Because if someone had a got to her, I tried to get to her, but her village was like, oh no, she too smart. Oh, she trying to control you. Oh, she trying to tell you what to do. No, I'm trying to teach you what your mother did not teach you.
Yeah.
So that you can be a mother. You don't have to be a mother like me, but you need to know the essence of motherhood. What does motherhood look like? You know, and so that's great. I'm sorry. I just had to talk about
No,
that.
that's okay. And that's Landon. I know it looks like an O, but that's the A. That's
Okay,
Landon.
I'm sorry. I was like, London.
That's all good. I didn't want to.
I do want to go to London, though. I do want to go to London. So maybe
You
I'll
ready to
prophesy.
go to London because she's telling you want to head on out to Paris, France.
Maybe I'll prophesy. I'm prophesying.
Now we'll go.
But you know, it's and the only reason why I know so much about motherless daughters is because of being an educator, especially in the middle school environment. It was countless girls who mama wasn't nowhere to be found. And it was crazy to see that. That was scary. I used to tell Jason all the time, like, how is that even possible? How can they sleep at night? How they good with not being I don't understand. But it's just a part of life that, because you know, when you're not exposed to it, or you haven't seen it, or you haven't experienced it, it just doesn't make sense to you, you know. And we always grew up in spaces where it was mama's baby, daddy's baby.
Daddy's baby. Yeah.
Right. It was not you know, mama maybe, daddy's baby. It was always mama's baby, daddy maybe, you know. But times have truly changed, you know, times have definitely changed, and the system of what we know to be real and healthy and normal and right for a child is now become uniquely different. But the need is the same. The need has never changed. The need for a father and mother will never ever dissolve, because it started at the beginning of humanity. So what started back then is the same thing necessary now. It's still family. It's still that institution of marriage. It's still that building block of a family dynamic that children have a strong need of. And that leads us to the good men and the good women, the real men and the real women. Now, that's figuratively speaking. However, it's realistically so. You know, you need some solid people around your life in order for your life to play out in a great manner. Now, it may not happen as a young person. It may happen when you get a little bit older, that person, you know, shows up in your life finally. It may just happen that you're a little bit older. I've seen it before where, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher didn't appear till they were 35. did show up. So sometimes it is a life journey where you have to go on your own trajectory, and then all of a sudden at that fork in the road where you needed that person the most, your destiny helper, they show up. And sometimes it does take a little bit longer. And I really, really want us to start really thinking about, what is a good man? What is a good woman? What really identifies them? Lady Ross said integrity. What else is there? What else is there? They're honest. They're loyal. They are trustworthy. You can depend on them. You can depend on them. When I think about, I told Jason's wife one day, because I said, if Jason gets sick, I'm gonna be at the hospital crying just like you. Just acting a crazy fool. If something happened to Landon, acting a crazy fool. Why? Because that's my brother. That's my brother. That's my village. That is my family. And so we when we get to a point in our lives where we grow and we mature, we come to understand that it's not blood, it's love. Blood doesn't dictate where the love is.
That's good.
The love is whoever God allows to be in your life, your destiny helpers, the people that show up in your life that have been assigned to you. That's your real village. And then the thing about it is you have to first of all, the way to find a good man or good woman is to be that.
Period.
The way you know people to show up in your life is because of who you are. The good, wholesome, high quality, high value people show up because of who you are. They're just not gonna come out of the ether.
Right.
You said wholesome, right? Not wholesome, huh?
Not wholesome. Wholesome.
Okay, wholesome. Okay.
I'm not going there with you. It's so
we just
funny.
need a pattern interrupt. Don't mind me. I'm crazy.
Funny. I
when
think
I
I'll put
that was a pattern interrupt. Yeah. Now, since you interrupted the pattern, Landon, keep going.
I do have a question though, and this is going back to what Jason said about the edification, and I do honestly appreciate you both, just because there's some accountability that is not mainstream that's happening right now. So here's the reality that I know is true. While Black women may be the most disrespected, I truly believe that Black men are the most disregarded. As Black women who do hold their own accountable, how do we create that and make that a movement within itself? And the reason I ask that question is because even yesterday, I saw a post being made, and it was basically telling the men to shut up and not have an opinion. And that is becoming the norm as these generations become younger. So as mature, God-fearing women, how do we create that, right? Because we talk about divine femininity being free, but divine masculinity also needs to be free in order for divine femininity to flourish. So how do we heal just as a community in order to even identify good man, good woman, even in ourselves?
I think that's a good question. And I am actually headed to Vegas this weekend for our ministries on the West Coast, right? And so I had a pastor who is married. He called me about 3 weeks ago. And anybody who know being in ministry, it's hard. And being in ministry, and you both in ministry, and you got to deal with people, and you got to deal with so much other stuff, right? He called me and said, my husband passed away, so I took his position. I'm the presiding bishop of the organization, right? I'm just holding it because I know who I actually am, right? But I took his position, and then who is over me is an apostle, and she is also a female, right? So when he called my phone, he's very close to me. He was very close to my husband. He said, "What happens when I feel like I no longer have a voice?" I said, "What?" He said, "Yeah, all of the leaders in higher position are women. What, including my wife? What does it feel like when I don't have a voice?" I said, "Let's stop." First, I prayed. And then I told them I'd call them back in 3 days. I called every female leader in the organization. This is what I did, right? Because I can't go after other people. I can only go after what I'm connected to, right? And I didn't blame them. I started off by saying, what did I do to make you believe that your voice was louder than what God created to lead us, right? Because he's still a man, and he's a man of God. He's not just a man, right? And men make mistakes. I think it starts with us. So it started with me, right? So I called the women and I said, listen, if there's a male in your church, give them the mic. If there's a male in your church, no, seriously, this is actually what I did, right? And because when a man feels like this is what I say to my son: any woman who silences your voice is not for you. Oh, yeah. If I was in the church, I'd say, look at your neighbor and tell them, don't silence my voice. You cannot silence a man's voice, because then you silence, watch this, not just his voice, his purpose, his destiny, his leadership, his potential, his career, his entrepreneurship. You silence everything around him if you silence him. So just because his raw may not be comfortable to you doesn't mean that God didn't God created him to be the rah, right? God created men to naturally be fighters, naturally, right? Women do fight, but because I like to fight, but I'm just saying, like, but I'm not. Okay, that was I'm just saying, don't get it twisted, and I'm packing. No, okay. Anywho, but I said all of that to just say, like, we have to start with us. So if we don't allow you to speak to us, how do you expect to go? Some men come in their house and they don't have a voice. Some men come in their house and they can't. Like, that's crazy to me. Ain't no way. When my husband came in the house, he didn't even know what was going on half the time. You know why? Because when he came in, he the king. So he coming into the castle. The counsel gonna be straight. And I worked outside of the home. I worked in ministry. I worked with him. I did business with him. I did business with Koffe, but it never interfered with the position that he placed. I'm actually preaching that, in position and not in place. I'm preaching that on Sunday. I yield.
Well, listen, y'all, this has been a power-packed hour. And like Landon asked a loaded question at the end of the hour. Like, we don't have time to even answer that question.
Just come back to it.
We literally have got to come back to that question to give the answer. We definitely got to have Lady Rob back in the building, when we answer that question, because I tell you what, that's a hard question to answer, Landon. It's a great question, but that is a hard question to answer. But I will tell you all this, this has been, man, I literally, man, this show has been so power packed. I didn't roll no credits, nothing, man. I've been through. It's been so powerful. Just the conversation from the time we got on the show up till now, and all the amazing information that I appreciate y'all. I really do. I appreciate the wisdom. I appreciate the knowledge. I appreciate, you guys just being so transparent and so open and so honest. We do not see that as much as we need to, as far as that transparency and that honesty and that level of integrity that speaks to who we are at the core of our being. It was amazing to have y'all on the show tonight. So, kudos to Lady Rob. Thank you for, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank y'all, man. I really needed this tonight. I didn't even want to I was like, no, I'm not getting on here. I needed this tonight. Like, I'm gonna go back and watch it multiple times and share it.
And we needed you.
Yeah,
we needed you. Hopefully my signal is better. I apologize that my signal kept going in and out. Again, I'm sitting outside of my car.
Man, you on set. You told people
I'm sorry. I normally do better and I will do better, but I want to say that you two ladies, y'all really did your thing. Landon, as always, you do your thing. But I mean, but you know what? While I'm disappointed I couldn't get a couple comments and questions out, I am very happy and elated because what I really think the message needed to be is really what you two ladies were talking about, because there's a sense of accountability, but you also have to hear it from your own. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Like Landon and I can hold each other accountable real easily, sometimes even just with a look, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's what we need in our community is for all of us. I mean, not just the ladies, but all of us to start holding ourselves accountable. The ladies
Yep.
need to hold the ladies accountable. The men need to hold the men accountable and stop, all this backbiting and stuff going at each other. When you see somebody's not moving with a sense of purpose, hold them accountable. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Right.
I'll stop
Right.
with that. Yeah. And like I said, I do have a question. We'll hit it next week if I can remember it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, guys, thank y'all so much for being a part of this power-packed segment, and catch us on Roku television. You'll catch the show on Roku television. It does air once on social media, but you will be able to watch it on Roku television under the Gift Network. Big shout out to Denise Powell, our actual executive director and the owner of the Gift Network, which is where our shows are housed at. Not only this show, but our actual ministry, Beauty in the Bible. So definitely check us out on Roku television and support us, support over there. And until next time, grace and peace, and we'll see you guys on another edition of P. Coffee Brown Show. Y'all be easy, and remember not just to love you, but love them, period. Peace.
Super good. Very, very good.
Nothing that needed to be added to the coffee. It has a natural flavor to it, very authentic.
Cup is done.
This coffee is second to none.
Not too sweet, not too milky, proper balance.
It wasn't strong. It was enjoyable. You can taste that the flavors are light, so it wasn't overwhelming whatsoever. And it's something I can look forward to partaking in.
It was so smooth. For those of you who don't like coffee, you'll reconsider when you taste this flavor.
It's delicious.
It's a great taste. It's amazing, and I think I'm going to be a coffee drinker.
Hot chocolate drinkers are going to love this.
It's smooth. It's delicious.
I like it.
Nothing too overwhelming. I tell you, it looks smooth and nice.
I like it. I do.
It's smooth.
It's good. It's good.
It's good. Yeah. That's pretty tasty.
Yeah, still thinking about the coffee. It was amazing. I'm a new coffee drinker.
It's smooth, it's creamy.
That's good, that.
Yeah, that's pretty good though.
Oh yeah. This definitely would be my go-to in the morning.
And it's healthy.
I like it. Oh. This tastes good. What kind of coffee is this?
I want to try it.
This is the best instant coffee I've ever had in my life.
It's luxurious on the tongue.
Really good.
This is fantastic.
It's very good.
Wow, I'm impressed.
It's sweet and strong, like at the same time. Like it's really good. I'm really impressed.
This is good.
Yeah, that's it.
It's light. It's delicious.
It's so good. Like, it feels good.
The taste is very unique.
Everything is just right there.
Oh, this is good.
It's crazy.
But it's not bad.
Excellent.
It's really good. I like it.
I like it.
Wow.
Wow.
Wow.